All right, so we back with part two of the Ebionites Nazarenes flight to Pella. The flight to Pella. Why Pella? Why Pella? Now, going back to what we just was at, leaving off that the gospel had to get published among the nations so that way the nations can receive it, but also so it can be corrupted also because when it went out there to the nations, the reason how do you know it got out there? It got out there because we had the flight to Pella. The Ebionites had the flight to Pella. All right. So when the gospel got out there to the other nations, they corrupted it. And the Ebionite Nazarenes was contending against that. All right. So Anaya, where we left off at, can you read verse 9 and 10 right here in Mark chapter 13, verse 9 and 10?
Yeah. But take heed to yourselves, for they shall deliver you up to councils, and in the synagogues ye shall be beaten, and ye shall be brought before rulers and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them. And the gospel must first be published among all nations.
So this stuff, so before anything really take place, it has to be published for the nation. Okay, it have to be. We have to start dealing with contingency, among the nations with the gospel. It has to get corrupted because he mentioned in verse 6, the Messiah mentioned that for many shall come in my name saying I am Christ. So you got these different Christologies going on in the late first century, going into the second century, especially in the late second century. It was going down. It was a lot of different Christologies happening that was contending against each other, calling themselves Christ, deceiving many. All right, now we're gonna go back to the recognitions of Clement, which is we in the sense of James, which is James rising to leadership, being chosen by the Messiah, handpicked by the Messiah, which is his brother. And he's ruling the church, and it was a document that was kept, that was published, that was kept by letters within Clement of him being transparent to the Bishop James. And these letters right here that we have is the recognitions of Clement right here in his chapter 64. Book 1, chapter 64. Can you read this for me right here, bro? We're gonna read it again.
All right. Thus, indeed, we know that he is increasingly angry on account of your sacrificing after the completion of the time of sacrifices. Wherefore, even this temple shall be broken down, and they shall set up the abomination of desolation in the holy place. Thereupon, the gospel shall be established for the Gentiles as a testimony, for the sake of healing the divisions that exist, so that it shall even be your sundering. Indeed, while the entire world and generations upon generations was weakened by the evil inclination, either secretly or openly, there was, however, a physician as much as needed for the work of its healing. Behold, then, we have testified to each person from among you concerning something that was lacking of him. Thenceforth, it is yours to inspect the thing that benefits you and to look after it.
All right, so according to the sense of James right here, we have that it say when the account of your sacrificing after the completion of the time of sacrificing. So the destruction of the temple was coming within Jerusalem because people kept sacrificing. All right, so and it say that when the destruction, when you see that set up by Daniel, the desolation of abomination that the prophet Daniel prophesied about, this is being preserved within the Jewish Christian understanding. So when we see this in the Greco-Roman Gospels, we know that this comes from the Jewish Christian understanding that the Messiah did prophesy of the destruction of the temple. Thereupon the gospel shall be established for the Gentiles as a testimony. So it should be established to them as a testimony that we made it out. The church actually made it out of Jerusalem. All right, they made it out of Jerusalem, and because they made it out of Jerusalem, I'm saying that's how it was. It was a testimony with that, and the Gentiles knew, they understood that, and it became contentious. It became a lot of contentious with each other for the sake of the healing of the division that exists. It's a division within that. It's a division that's within the Greco-Roman understanding of Christ and the Jewish Christian understanding of Christ. Okay, the ancient Jewish Christian understanding of Christ. All right, of the Messiah. So, and it is dealing with sacrifices, even with the Greco-Roman understanding of the Messiah. Sacrifices is allowed, but with the Jewish Christian understanding, it's not there. It's not there. So this is one of the biggest issues, that these people did not accept the virgin birth. They did not accept sacrificings, and then they did not accept the Messiah as God incarnated or he's pre-existing, with the Father. That spirit is, their understanding is that spirit is pre-existing with the Father that embodied Jesus of Nazareth at his baptism. Okay, they don't go into all this Greco-Roman ideology, paganism, mixing it in Christology. They don't deal with that. All right, so but the gospel had to get corrupted and go abroad. So now we're gonna go to the book of Homilies. This Homilies chapter 2. It's Homilies book 2, chapter 17. Can you read this for me, bro?
Yeah. In like manner, the combination with respect to Elias, which behooved to have come, has been willingly put off to another time, having determined to enjoy it conveniently hereafter. Wherefore also he who was among those born of a woman came first. Then he who was among the sons of men came second. It were possible, following this order, to perceive to what series Simon belongs,
Something about Simon Magus.
who came before me to the Gentiles.
So Peter's saying that Simon Magus went to the Gentiles before he could, before he really can go out and do his thing, amongst the nation. But Simon already did it and was corrupting things also. But keep going.
Uh,
Right here.
and to which I belong, who have come after him, and have come in upon him as light upon darkness, as knowledge upon ignorance, as healing upon disease. And thus, as the true prophet has told us, a false prophet must first come from some deceiver. And then, in like manner, after the removal of the holy place, the true gospel must be secretly sent abroad for the rectification of the heresies that shall be.
So the true prophet, which is talking about the Messiah, he's the true prophet. He's that teacher of righteousness. What happened was like we read in the Greco-Roman Mark, like we read that false, teachers would come. False teachers would come to deceive people. False prophets would come to deceive people. Simon was one of them. You got other people that's equivalent to Simon, like Paul. Just go ahead and say it. So you got these people, because the Jewish Christians did not agree with Paul. Understand it? They call him they call him somebody who's a apostate, somebody that's against the law. So it's that deceivers may come, but and then after the removal of, so when the destruction come, after the destruction, the gospel must actually have to be secretly sent abroad. How can the gospel be secretly sent abroad? Because they had to take a flight. They had to take a flight to Pella. These Christians, these Jewish Christians, they left Jerusalem before the destruction of 70 AD. All right. So after this, towards the end, keep going, bro. Can you hear me?
My bad. I was on mute. After this also, towards the end, Antichrist must first come, and then our Messiah must be revealed to be indeed the Messiah. And after this, the eternal light having sprung up, all the things of darkness must disappear.
So the gospel got to be sent abroad. It had to get corrupted, and then towards the end, we'll understand the Antichrist. We understand Antichrist being, governments, or even people can be Antichrist. But speaking of a operational system that's against, that's against the Most High, and then you have, but then at the end, towards that, the truth will start getting revealed. This is what we see in different pseudo writings, that we see that the truth, the Messiah have to be revealed, that would confirm that he's the Messiah. But how would that be confirmed? By actually the truth coming out, the Ebionite Nazarene, the way, the truth coming out about the Messiah. And it may be different from our Greco-Roman understanding of the Messiah. It may be different from our traditional understanding of the Messiah. But if truth is truth, truth is truth. All right. And then the darkness must disappear with that. You know what I'm saying? So eventually the light is going to come the light will come to, it will be abound. The light will come out. All right. So now let's keep going. Let's keep going. So more information. Now we're going into, this is a Muslim record right here. This is a Muslim, Islamic scholar, okay, in the 10th century, or around the 900s, in the 10th century, it was contending with Jewish Christians also. But we're going to go into this record because this scholar, this 10th century theologian, Muslim scholar, he says that he has, just like in the 4th century, Ephanias and Eusebius and Nahum, especially Ephanias, he mentioned, he got the gospel of the Nazarenes, he got the gospel of the Ebionites, he's quoting from it. The same, like in the same situation, a Muslim scholar, a theologian Muslim scholar, all right, in the 10th century, he got the records of the Nazarenes, and he's reading some of their records. Now he's reading these things. All right, it's an interesting read. But in here we're going to check out something out of here, and this is translated. He said he translated this section in full right here, and it was translated by a Jewish scholar recently. All right, named Saloma Pines or something like that. He translated this, and he was interested in this information. He was brought this information by a Muslim. All right, so now this is and it's called the Jewish Christian, a Jewish Christian news source. All right, so this is new information that's being brought. That's not this old, but it's an old record that dates back to the 10th century. All right, now can you start right here for me, 9? The first section here is translated in full.
The first section is here translated in full. After him, his disciples.
Hold on, I'm sorry.
After him, his disciples were with the Jews and the children of Israel in the latter's synagogue, and observed the prayers and the feast of the Jews in the same place as the latter. However, there was a disagreement between them and the Jews with regard to Christ.
So you like we read in Mark how the Messiah said that you will be kicked out of synagogues and things like that. So this is what happens. Or the disciples of the Messiah, which is Jew, they are Jew. They just Jewish Christian. They Messianic Jew. They believe that Jesus of Nazareth is the Messiah. All right. So they in the synagogues with the other Jews, they kept the feast, their prayers, and just because they're Jews too, they're doing the same thing as other Jews. The difference is that they believe that Jesus is the Messiah. They started to have disagreements within the synagogues. All right. And this is how so this is taking place. This is information that this Muslim scholar has in the 10th century. And this information that he has, this information is telling about things that took place in the late 1st century, before the church migrated out of Jerusalem. I'm going to prove it. I'm going to read it. So keep going though, bro. Keep going.
The Romans reigned over them. The Christians used to complain to the Romans about the Jews, showed them their own wickedness, and applied to their pity. and the Romans did pity in an obvious interpolation.
Hold on, now, yo, you good, you good. Hold on. So, and the Romans did pity them right here. Pit back up right here.
Oh, and the Romans did pity them. This used to happen frequently, and the Romans said to the Christians, between us and the Jews, there is a pact which obliges us not to change their religious laws. But if you would abandon their laws and separate yourselves from them, praying as we do, facing while facing the east, eating the things we eat, and regarding as permissible that which we consider as such, we should help you and make you powerful. And the Jews would find no way to harm you. On the contrary, you would be more powerful than they.
Hold on right here. So we see that in the synagogues, the Jewish Christians was having issues. Then you also got, because the Jewish Christians, they actually got converts. This is when you had people was actually Gentiles, other nations was willing to undergo, circumcision, to undergo certain things that was obligated, within the Torah. And they'll do that, and they accept the Messiah also. And they was able to, be in these synagogues and operate, amongst with us. So you got those, so what happened is, and I'm gonna prove what I'm saying, but what happened is that you got this going on within the synagogues, but then you got some of those Jews, some of those Jewish Christians, you know what I'm saying? And then some of those, converts of Jewish Christians, they, went to the Romans and like, yo, man, they keep, how can we deal with this? How can we do this? I mean, we gotta do something about the Jews beating us up. They persecuting us, in these synagogues. And the Romans pitied them. And the Romans like, you know what? All right, how about this? Y'all abandon their laws, because we got a pact with the this before everything jumped off in 66. When everything jumped off in 66 AD, when the Jews just revolted, and then like the Zealots took control over Jerusalem. And that's when everything eventually took place with Titus and Vespasian. But this is before this. So you got this going on right here. The Romans like, all right, stop following their laws and then separate yourself from them and do it how we do. Pray how we pray. Eat the things we eat, and then we'll make you more powerful than the Jews, and they won't be able to harm you anymore. All right, keep going, bro, to the next one.
The Christians answered, we will do this. And the Romans said, go fetch your companions and bring your book.
What? They saying go fetch your companions and bring your book. What? So now they want us to go get, these are the companions. He want us to go, they want these Christians, I think these are Gentile Christians. They want these people to go get the leadership like James and them. Go get these brothers, or go get the leadership that's in Jerusalem. Go get them and bring us your book. They said, bring us your book. Keep going.
Let me see.
Right here.
Oh, bring us your book. The Christians went to their companions, informed them of what had taken place between them and the Romans, and said to them, bring the gospel and stand up so that we should go to them. But these companions said to them, you have done ill. We are not permitted to let the Romans pollute the gospel. And giving a favorable answer to the Romans, you have accordingly departed from the religion. We are therefore no longer permitted to associate with you. On the contrary, we are obliged to declare that there is nothing in common between us and you. And they prevented their taking possession of the gospel or gaining access to it.
So hold on. So you got something took place. So they went to the Romans. They asked the Romans. The Romans told them to go get your companions. They went to get the companions. The companions, like these Jewish Christians, like, you're tripping. You're not going to do this. No, and because you making a deal with the Romans like that, bro, we not even permitted to associate with you no more. You know what I'm saying? Because you doing that, you trying to corrupt the gospel. And then from there, the Jewish Christian prevented, some of these Gentile Christians from actually obtaining the gospel. All right. With certain records because they want because now we have it, the Jewish Christian got a name out. You know what? These people trying to corrupt the guys. We can't let them get our records no more. If we let them get it again, we was freely sharing things with them and doing it and let them go into certain records we had, you know. But if we allow them to actually get access to our stuff again, they're gonna corrupt it. That's their agenda. They want to corrupt it. Keep going, bro.
It says,
Right
where am
here.
I? Where am I? Where am I? Oh, in consequence, a violent uh quarrel broke out between the two groups.
Mm-hmm.
Those mentioned in the first place went back to the Romans
So
and said to them,
those Gentile Christians, they went back to the Romans, and this is what they said.
help us against these companions of ours before helping us against the Jews, and take away from them on our behalf our book.
Mm-hmm.
Thereupon the companions of whom they had spoken fled the country.
The Jewish Christians, they fled the country. They had because they knew what was going down. This is like right before the Jews started revolting, okay, against the Romans. So the Jews Christians, they fled. They fled. They took the flight to Pella. They took the flight to Pella, and and on top of that, they understood that the gospel has to go out there, like we read before in the Recognitions of Clement and the homilies. The gospel had to go out there. They took that with them. They took this with them. They took the gospel with them because they knew that these Romans these Gentile Christians was trying to corrupt it. Okay, and they know that they're eventually going to have to contend against it. They're eventually going to have to contend against this outside after the destruction of the temple. They understood this. Okay, so now keep
Hey,
going,
I was gonna
bro.
say
Uh-huh.
they wasn't
Mm-hmm.
even worried about regular Jews, meaning like Jews that didn't believe in Christ. That's why it said where is it? It's something that says help us not
Yeah,
against the
right here.
Jews.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they wanted help against, like you said, the Jews that was the early church, which is Israelite Jewish Christians pretty much. But also on top of that, I was gonna say this is probably what made the Essenes hide the Dead Sea Scrolls, or hide what we call the Dead Sea Scrolls, when they found out that the Romans was trying to corrupt the gospel, and that
Mm-hmm.
pretty much the Gentile converts had asked the Romans to help them take their book, which really wasn't their book, it was our book. But that's probably
Mm-hmm.
once they got word of that, that's probably when they started burying the books and stuff.
No, well, yeah, exactly. Burying them and taking some things that they can take with them. Exactly. That's why things was found at the Qumran Cave, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it's that literature. 30% of that literature in the Dead Sea Scrolls is what we'll call Judean, Jewish Christian gospel literature in there. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of it in there. So now let's keep going right here. So they fled the country. They flight to Pella right here, bro. And
And the Romans wrote concerning them to their governors in the districts of Mosul
mm-hmm,
and in the Jazarat
mm-hmm,
al Arab. Accordingly, a search was made for them. Some were caught and burned, others were killed.
mm-hmm. So in this area right here, this is going into northern Syria. When we look this up, it's northern Syria, which is one of the places where that the Ebionites they went to Pella. Then from Pella they kept going out. Like I said, they went to North Africa. They went to Syria. They went to Cyprus. They went Transjordan area completely. You know, this is what happened. Let me jump down real quick. We're gonna jump down. Let's see. Or may just get back to this because I want to do a whole lesson about the corruption of the gospel. But so they fled to this area, but I want to read something that they actually said. The author actually says it. Oh yeah, let me go down. Let's see, let's see, let's see. All right, right here. Can you read this right here? This is what Shalom Pines is saying. Okay, the Jewish scholar that translated the information from the Muslim theologian scholar. All right, can you read this right here?
The story which relates to the flight of the original Christian community from Palestine has an evident counterpart in the departure of that community from Jerusalem to Pella, accounted in Eusebius and in Ephanius. Some modern scholars tend to think that such an exodus had not taken place. One of the reasons given being that according to Eusebius' history, it was occasioned by an oracle, and according to Ephanius, the only other source known up to now, by an order of Christ, this motivation did not find credence. The story told in our text bears traces of theological embroidery. The motif of the original gospel, which must have been which must not be what's that sulad by contact with non-Jews, is reminiscent of certain notions found in the pseudo-Clementines. It is also suspect it is also suspect on another account. It is clearly influenced to some extent by the constant tendency of the Jewish Christians to impute to the Christians who had sold out to the Romans the responsibility for everything that, from their point of view, went wrong in the history of Christianity.
Then this record that this Muslim scholar has, the Jewish scholar Shalom Paz is saying according to this record, this is what's being said in this record, that because of those Christians who sold out with the Romans, it's the reason why everything went wrong in history. But this stuff had to happen. This stuff had to happen, so the gospel can be sent out there. But can you read this right here, bro? Right here.
Our text seems to indicate that as a result, Jewish Christians, Jewish Christianity, no, Jewish Christians, Jewish Christian communities were formed in the Mosul district of the Mosul district and in the Jazara or in Arabia.
So in these areas, and then that Mosul district is speaking of northern Syria. So we dealing with the flight of Pella. We went through Transjordan, and then we kept even going into further into Syria, and even into what we are called today the Muslim world. Before Muslim was even thought of, they were still doing Persian mythology and Zintoism, whatever. They weren't doing. Islam wasn't there. All right, so now let's we're gonna get out of here. Let's go back to Mark. Go back to Mark. So Mark chapter 13. Can you read verse 11, bro? Start at verse 11.
But when they shall lead you and deliver you up, take no thought beforehand what ye shall speak, neither do ye premeditate, but whatsoever shall be given you in that hour, that speak ye. For it is not ye that speak, but the Holy Spirit. Now the brother shall betray the brother to death, and the father the son, and children shall rise up against their parents, and shall cause them to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
Now the Ebionites and Nazarenes, they were hated. They were hated for because they were Jews who kept the Torah and believed in them. They was hated in all different ways. All right, in all different ways. So some of this stuff fits the first century, and some of this stuff just in general prophecy, double-fold prophecy, what will take place and throughout time and to the end. Things that we can see that will take place. So in accumulating this, but we have to understand the Ebionites and Nazarene to understand everything fully. Keep going to verse 14, bro.
But when ye shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing where it ought not, let him that readeth understand. Then let them that be in Judaea flee to the mountains. And let him that is on the housetop not go down into the house, neither enter therein to take anything out of his house. And let him that is in the field not turn back again for to take up his garment. But woe to them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. And pray ye that your flight be not in winter. For in those days shall the affliction, such as was not from the beginning of the creation which God created unto this time, neither shall be. And except that the Lord had shortened, hold on, what verse is that?
All right,
And
verse
it's
20.
and except that the Lord had shortened those days, no flesh shall be saved. But for the elect's sake, whom he have chosen, he have shortened the days. And then if any man shall say to you, lo, here is Christ, or lo, he is there, believe him not. For false Christs and false prophets shall rise, and shall show signs and wonders to seduce, if it were possible, even the elect. But take ye heed, behold, I have foretold you all things.
So we have to get back to the understanding of the Ebionites and Nazarenes understanding. All right, because it's many false Christs, many false interpretations, many false interpretations, that been seducing people throughout time because of the hiding of the church, because of the hiding of it. All right. But so they had to leave. They left Pella. They understood this. They left Pella. I mean, they left to go to Pella. The church understood this. So now, and it tell you in Proverbs and things like that, and like in Psalms, that the righteous would be able to escape and live forever, but the wicked would die. The wicked would die. The righteous will always have a refuge, but the wicked, would die. And for those who didn't take heed to those, unfortunately, it was a fortunate situation that took place in 70 AD. So now let's go right here. Let's go to back to the recognitions of Clement. Let's go to 37. 37. So we in the book 1, chapter 37. Can you read that? Can you read that, bro?
With these things, then he also appointed for them a place wherein alone it was permitted for them to make sacrifices. But all this was arranged for them so that when one fitting would come, they would thereby be able to understand that the Most High wants kindness and not sacrifices. Afterward, the prophet who says these things shall be sent to them, and those who believe in him shall be guided by the wisdom of the Most High to a strong place of the land for the sake of life. And they shall be kept safe on account of the war that thereafter comes upon them for the destruction of those who, because of their doubt, are disobedient.
You can start right there. You can that what took place. So the most high, he allowed the Messiah to be able to come with this understanding, to allow them to come with this understanding, to have this understanding about permitting taking away sacrifices. All right. And because of that, the destruction came upon the temple. Really, that was the issue. That was the issue. But for those who understood and those who were a part of that, the Messianic community, Hebrew community, they actually was guided by the wisdom of God, which is the Holy Spirit, to a strong place for the sake of life. And they was kept safe on the account of the war that took place in 70 AD. All right. So now, with that being said, it was so much things that took place within there. So much things that took place. It was seven signs that was given that Josephus records, and you can find this in the book. You can find this in Josephus in the War of the Jews, book 6, chapter 5. Now I'm gonna just read the signs real quick. So it had a sword in the sky, a sword in the sky appeared in the sky. And all this took place right after they did it, because in 66 AD, they revolted and they even chased the Roman general. They chased the Roman general out, out. So that was interesting. That was interesting. That was interesting. And then another thing is the a bright light was there. A bright light appeared in the sky for a long time. A cow gives birth to a lamb. The eastern gate opens by itself. You know what I'm saying? All these things happen. Armies it was armies in the sky. It was chariots and things in the sky, from like dealing with like the clouds and stuff like that. It was preparing in the sky. A voice speaking, and you had a prophet whose name was Yeshua. A prophet was named Jesus, who actually for 4 years was actually for 4 years he was actually prophesying of the destruction of the temple for 4 years. All right, and he died a tragic death. But we're gonna have to do one more part of this, bro. One more part of this, and then but we gotta put this information out. Just do one more part of this, and then it's done. I'm gonna let me just stop it right here, and then we come back. Stop it. All right.